going on, guys? It's your boy. Welcome back to another video. Today, it's going to be a little drive with me situation. I have not done one of these in forever. Also, I realized that intro is probably too loud for my microphone. Whoopsie. Whoopsie. I'm a loud person. That's my bad. I cannot help myself. Back when I used to do these drive with me videos, I didn't have the microphone. So I used to have to scream and yell and be loud. And especially because that door used to not work and it used to be open. So I'm completely not unprepared. I'm completely not used to my current setup and situation that I got going on. But today is a very fun day. I'm on my way to a thrift store. I know what you're thinking. Oh my God, he's going thrifting. We're going to get a haul. No, I'm actually just dropping off. I got 3 bags behind me. I cleaned my room yesterday. I made a video about it. And if I was confident myself to put the little card up, I would say go check that video out. But if not, I mean, you could also click my account and check it out. I have been putting off cleaning my room for a couple of months, if I'm being totally honest, because part of me has been like, well, I'm going to be moving out soon. So when I move, I'll just clean as I go. And I'll throw out a bunch of stuff because I'm moving and I'll only take the stuff with me that I need to take with me. And I realized that's not a good way to live, because as of right now, my depression room was getting overwhelmingly bad. And I have a YouTube channel where I talk about movies and stuff like that, and I try to record in that room, and it's been looking so hectic and so bad in the back, and I've been feeling very self-conscious about it. So I finally went ahead and did something about it, and now I am going to finally work on my declutter issue, because if I'm being honest, I'm very much a hoarder, and it's something I've been dealing with for a really long time. I think a big part of it is my mom growing up was the kind of person where the day after Christmas, the day after Easter, the day after Halloween or whatever, she would go to the store and she would buy every single thing that's on clearance ever. And because of that, I kind of have this mindset of oh my God, well, yeah, I'm saving money if I buy stuff that's on clearance. So I constantly get things that are on clearance or at thrift stores or at stuff like that I don't necessarily need, because I'm well, it's such a good price. Why wouldn't I buy this thing? And I'm starting to really realize that that is a terrible way of thinking about life, because for one, you should have to save up for stuff, right? If you want something, you should want something that's high quality. You should want to potentially put time and effort and money into this thing, and you shouldn't just be buying something because oh, well, it's cheap. Well, yeah, because if you buy cheap stuff, you get cheap stuff, and then your stuff is going to be cheap. Because I think a good example of this, I got back into the gym earlier this year, and I've been rocking with these little Amazon little mini shorts. I'm not gonna lie, they are booty shorts. They are tiny little things, and I bought a 4-pack of them for $18 because I was four-pack, $18 is a great price. And when I got them, literally the first day I put one of the pairs on, the pockets just ripped off of them, and they've all kind of been falling apart relatively quickly. And it's well, yeah, you buy really cheap stuff, you get really cheap quality stuff. And I'm starting to pick up on that more. I think I'm going to try to not spend as much money, and when I do spend money, spend more money, so that I'm not having to rebuy a bunch of stuff. Because I've always had the mindset, especially when it comes to pairs of shoes and pairs of pants, and I'll probably stick with the cheap stuff for my shoes and my pants. But I always have the thought process of well, if I'm going to have to replace shoes anyways, I might as well get this $15 pair of shoes from Walmart, and then when I need to replace it, I know I can go find the exact same pair for the exact same price. And it's over time, yeah, I've replaced it 7 times, but I've replaced it 7 times, and that's only been less than $100, as opposed to me going and getting name brand shoes for $100 and then having to replace those. That would suck. That would be miserable. So that's kind of a big part of my mindset right now. I really want to work on decluttering. I need to declutter my mind as well, I think. Now, I don't want anybody to hold me accountable here. I'm going to be looking into therapy soon. So exciting! We love it. Nothing better than a good old therapy session. I'm actually terrified. Part of the reason I've been avoiding therapy for the most part, I am a relatively emotionally intelligent person, I would say. I know for the most part all of my issues, where they stem from, and things I could be doing to better myself. But I think a big thing that would really help is having a professional kind of look me in the eyes and be dude, that's fucked up. And I think I honestly probably need to hear that, because a lot of times I'm thinking to myself, if I had a friend group, or if I had even really just a couple of close friends, I feel I probably wouldn't need therapy, because there are people I could confide in, and there are people that I could talk to, and they can help me see my flaws. Because something I've noticed recently that I think is really interesting, you give better advice when you have a lot of friends. When you have a lot of friends, you understand how people work a lot better, and you tend to be able to give better advice. You tend to be more fun to be around. You tend to bounce off of people relatively better. And I just haven't in the last couple of years. Like my social anxiety since COVID-19 and like switching schools and moving after living in the same hometown for like 15 years of my life, like there's been a lot of issues with me moving to this new town and trying to like adapt and potentially make friends and all this stuff. I'm sucking. I'm gonna be honest with you. I suck at it. I'm really, really bad at this. And like I've been able to make like online friends relatively easy, especially in the last couple of years because like I make TikTok videos, I make YouTube videos, and I'll constantly see people who I can relate to and I can potentially have these interactions with and conversations with. But like it's so hard to translate that to real life, and I'm trying to get out more. I think that that's something I'm going to try to focus on in the future of this channel. Is I want to try going to events more. I've done a lot of solo concerts this year actually, and I am really proud of them. And I think for the most part I'm going to try to make a rule with myself that as long as it's within a certain price range. Hey, you should have used a blinker, jackass. Like, I hate to be that guy. Yeah, you're on a motorcycle. I'll be careful driving around you. But I shouldn't be caring more about your life than you are when you're driving. I mean, you don't have a helmet on. You're swerving in and out of lanes without using any form of blinkers or signals or anything. Like, what the fuck is wrong with you, dude? What's your deal? Sorry, that was a little tangent. I tend to do that with my Drive With Me videos. I really got to work on it. But, like, it's also I'm driving, and my big thing about my road rage, I will stay at the same like speaking level that I'm already on, but I will give a lecture, like the whole like parents thing, where it's like I'm not mad, I'm disappointed. That's me with my road rage. Like people will drive like fucking assholes, and I'll just be like, now, why do you think that that was a good idea? Like, what made you come to the conclusion that what, it's gonna be totally fine and acceptable for me to do this? And what the hell are you doing? Now I'm actually just confused. That's not even my disappointed voice. That's my I have no idea what you're trying to do right now voice. But that being said, I am excited. I'm going to a thrift store. I'm actually low-key panicked. I'm sorry, I'm definitely running this yellow light. But what's it called? I'm low-key panicked because the thrift store I'm going to closes at 7 o'clock, right? However, I think that their donation section closes earlier, and I completely forgot about that. So I've been like, waiting and diddly daddling and doing whatever around my house because I had stuff to do at home. And I've been like, well, I can wait, and I can wait, and it's okay. I'll go a little bit later. But like, I just came to the realization. What? How do you say that word? Every time I say realization, my dad gives me shit for it, and he'll correct me. But I don't know the correct way to say that word. Realization. Realize. I have no idea. I've got zero clue. So if somebody can cue me in and tell me what I'm doing wrong there, that would be awesome. I would really appreciate it. But to get back to the topic that I was talking about, was there a topic? I don't remember. Oh yeah, the thrift store closes at 7 o'clock. I think their donation center closes at 6, and it is currently like 5:45. So I'm really hoping I get there in time. I'm not going to record the interaction with, me dropping it off because, like, I don't want to be that guy. So I'm probably going to pause it once I pull into the parking lot. And then I'm going to pick up the recording afterwards because, surprise, I think this is going to be an episode of the Tangent Time podcast. I had mentioned in the past that my Tangent Time podcast videos were probably going to become Drive With Me videos because a couple of reasons. One, when I'm driving, there's a lot on my mind and a lot of random things that I could talk about. And two, I think that part of the reason I enjoy podcasts, like anytime I'm listening to a podcast, it's typically when I have like a long drive and I want somebody to talk to, but I don't necessarily have somebody to talk to. So I think that, make the kind of content you would want to watch. I would want to listen to a podcast with somebody who's driving around, so I feel less lonely when I'm driving around. Like, I have said this in the past, and this might be like a really dorky thing. I low-key wish that the whole like having a radio in your car or whatever was like a very normalized thing, because like that's like a thing that like truckers back in the day used to have, and I really think that that's something that should still exist and should be normalized. And like if you're stuck in traffic, you should be able to be like, who wants to play rock paper scissors right now? It would be fun. It would be a damn good time, and I would be lying if I said I would not be having a damn good time with that. Anyways, I'm about to pull into the parking lot for Dayla destination, So I'm probably going to go ahead and pause this here for a second. And for you guys, it's going to be about 10 seconds. For me, it's going to be potentially a couple minutes. We will see. I'm incredibly excited. I low key do really want to go thrifting, but I told myself I'm going to try to not spend money in the month of June because one of the best ways to get out of living paycheck to paycheck is to try to not spend any money for an entire month. And I know I can't do that, but I'm going to try my best to at least limit it. So that's the goal. Anyways, I will see you guys in a second. I low-key love, I don't know if this is all Goodwills or if this is just the Goodwill near me, but the Goodwill near me, the entire like crew that works there is all relatively young people, probably like high school age. So like every time I come here, I'm like stressed out that I'm like, oh, this is gonna take forever. They just show up and they're like, what's popping? I'm like, I'm donating stuff. Oh, he's letting me go. Thank you. Sorry, I got really distracted because I'm like, I don't even think I'm technically supposed to be down here, but that's okay. Oh, I've got all the time in the world. That's awesome, dude. Usually I have to wait at that stop sign for like a solid 2 minutes because this is a very busy road and it kind of drives me insane that there's not like a light over here that I can go to the light instead of waiting at the stop sign. But anyways, so like I was saying, I was stressed out that that interaction was going to take forever or like that I was potentially going to have issues with the interaction. But they're a teenager, so he just pops out and says, "What's poppin'? What do you got for me, boss?" And I'm like, "I got 3 bags of clothes." And he's like, "Word up, big dog." I give him the bags. He takes the bags. He asks if I want a receipt. I say, "No, thank you." We go on our way. What a great time. What a brilliant time. Nothing better than that. Nothing better than that. Anyways, so for the stuff that I donated, for anybody who was curious, I donated a bunch of clothes, a couple of toys, because I'm gonna try to start getting rid of my Funko Pops a little bit. I'm not going to get rid of all of them because some of them are sentimental to me, but there are quite a few that I got because I was like, well, it's on clearance. And getting a Funko Pop because it's on clearance, even if it is a character that you are kind of a fan of and you do kind of like a little bit, you don't need that. Like, that's kind of unnecessary. You really don't need to be doing all that. So I'm going to go through them. And I think I might try to make a list and like, or an ultimatum for myself where it's like, I need to narrow it down to a certain number. Like, I might go through it. And if I currently have, like, say I have 80, I'll probably make the number 40 for right now and then see if I could narrow it down to 40 and vice versa. So I think I do have probably close to 80. So I might try to knock it down to 40. But a big thing is I have an ungodly amount of Marvel ones. And I kind of wish I just had some for all fandoms in general. Because even though I am a diehard Marvel fan, and it is the big thing that got me into movies, it's one of the big things that got me into, making YouTube videos and stuff like that. It ultimately really isn't my favorite film franchise. Like, if I was to rank my top 10 favorite movies of all time, I don't even necessarily think a Marvel movie would be on there. Like, Guardians of the Galaxy is potentially up there, but I don't think there's any others that would really make the list. And that's weird because, like, I have so much Marvel paraphernalia all over my room. Oh, God, your eyes are terrifying. There's a dog in the car next to me, and I was like, oh my God, cute dog. Their eyes look like human eyes. Oh, I'm scared. Oh, I'm petrified. Dude, I don't think you could tell, but I'm literally quaking in my boots right now. Did I say that right? Quaking in my boots? Consider my shivers timbered. Consider my. That's completely incorrect. Consider my. Okay. I think I'd rather not consider anything, if I'm being totally real with you, dog. But yeah, sorry, I got completely derailed by that. That dog's eyes were terrifying. I'm not gonna lie. This might be a hot take, and if I do get canceled in the foreseeable future, I can imagine it being for this. Personally, I think dogs are overrated as hell. Oh, he said it. Oh, he said it. Dog, man, best friend. Yeah, but also dogs chew up things and kind of suck sometimes. And before anybody's like, oh, well, yeah, you gotta train them. Who has time for that? And in this economy, who has money for that? And on top of that, if you decide, okay, well, I want to go on a vacation, do you guys know how expensive getting a dog sitter is? Oh my God, like, I obviously don't have a dog, so I don't know from firsthand experience. My sister, she does have 2 Great Danes, right? So in context, her dogs are big dogs. Like, they're huge dogs. They're potentially needy, but to get them watched for like a weekend, like 3 days, it was over $1,000. Yeah, yikesies. No, I think I'm good because here's my thing. If I'm going to go on a vacation, I know I'm going to be spending a bunch of money. At least I'm going to be spending money on like memories and like stuff that I can enjoy and appreciate. But like, if you're spending that kind of money on just having somebody watch your dogs, that's $1,000 you can't spend on the vacation you're having, and I feel like that really sucks. So I will stick to my cats, and especially because like, and before someone's like, "Oh, but cats deserve attention too," and oh my god, cats love them. You can't just abandon your cats. It is so much easier to text a neighbor and be like, "Hey, can you feed and water my cats twice a day. I'll give you X amount of money, whatever." And for the most part, because it's so little work, they'll be willing to do it. But dogs, on the other hand, they are so needy that like they will destroy stuff if you don't give them attention for a certain amount of the time. And so you kind of have to deal with the fact that like, yeah, you need someone to watch your dogs. You can't just have somebody like check on them occasionally. That doesn't work as well because they're dogs. And I mean, I guess it could be different if you crate train them, but I would never crate train a dog. I feel like leaving an animal in a cage that small for a prolonged amount of time, that's kind of like, I don't want to say it's animal abuse because obviously they're animals. It's okay. They're like trained for that. And like for the most part, if you go through the whole course of human history, we've done significantly worse things to animals. So like complaining about just putting them in a cage seems maybe whiny, but like I feel bad. Like I feel like that's a terrible thing to do to these dogs, but I don't know. Anyways, that was a very depressing topic. Now for the final segment of my little Tangent Time podcast, for anybody who remembers, what's new with your dude? I actually don't have much going on. If I'm being totally honest with you, with the exception of the fact that I'm potentially going to be moving out in the next month, there's not a whole lot going on. I accidentally almost gave myself alcohol poisoning last weekend. It was my sister's birthday. I was drinking with her and her boyfriend. Her boyfriend is a bad influence. That man parties, and what's it called? We were drinking before he got there, and he was like, "I need to catch up." And so I was making him drinks with triple shots, and he was like, "These are too weak." So me and him kind of went drink for drink with like triple shot, 4 shots of alcohol in our drinks. And we were in a pool, and I don't know if you know this, when you're in a pool and you're swimming or whatever, and you're drunk, the drunkenness doesn't hit you as hard. So, finally get out of the pool, have some Taco Bell at like 2 o'clock in the morning. I threw up probably about 8 times, woke up the next morning, threw up some more, and it was not great. Like, let me tell you, it was a really rough time. I was throwing up essentially for like 12 hours because I started throwing up around like 3 o'clock in the morning. My last time throwing up was like 4 p.m. the next day, and nothing I was able to eat from any of that time was staying down. Like, I tried having breakfast that day. Nope, didn't happen. I tried having a Gatorade. Nope, didn't happen. I tried just having water. Nope, did not happen. So that was miserable. That was not a good time. And then something new that's coming up this weekend, I'm going to be going to. Don't tell my friend. This is secretly a Pride event. I did not know that. I potentially might be dressing for the part. I don't know yet because on the one hand, part of me is like, yeah, I should do it. The other part of me is like, that'd be really mean. That one, I know it's a Pride event and he doesn't. Two, I dress up in a Pride outfit. Like, if I could do a subtle Pride outfit without it being like a like obvious that, hey, this is Pride, then I might do it. But I don't know yet. But me and my friend are going to be going to a women's soccer game, and it's the Orlando Pride. It's a women's soccer club. Their name is Orlando Pride. And so when I was buying the tickets and I saw that the event was called, like Celebrate Your Pride or something, and I was like looking at this soccer club, I was like, well, yeah, that makes sense because like their team is the Pride, and they're going to be playing this game of soccer, and it's going to be exciting. So yeah, we're going to celebrate. This is great. Completely went over my head that it was the month of June and it's literally Pride Month. So me and my friend, my childhood best friend, who I've known probably about 17 years now. God, that's crazy to think about. But I've known him my entire life. We're going to go to a soccer game together, and I've been stressing out because he was supposed to buy an Airbnb. And for some reason, I'm always scared to text somebody first. And even though, like I said, this is somebody I've known for 17 years, I've been freaking out about whether or not I'm going to text him. So I finally, bit the bullet and texted him. I was like, hey, did you ever end up getting that Airbnb? How much do I owe you? Question mark. he did not get the Airbnb. Apparently, he also forgot, and it's actually a really good thing that I texted him because the day I'm recording this, it's a Wednesday, and we're supposed to be going to this Airbnb on Friday. So he's looking at Airbnbs for this weekend frantically. Luckily for us, Orlando is a big city, so we should be able to find something all right. But it was just one of those things that I was just like, oh God, we fucked up. But yeah, I'm excited to see him. I think it's going to be a really good time. And overall, this is the first time I'm seeing him since we both turned 21. So he, for reference, and this is really personal stuff, so I'm not entirely sure if I could even really say this or not. Like, before I upload this video, we'll talk to him and see if he's okay with me saying this. If not, I'll bleep. But his parents, growing up, were slightly alcoholics, like just a little bit. And so he always kind of gave off the vibes that like he will never drink alcohol ever in his life. And now that we're both 21, I kind of want to try to see if I could get him to take just one shot with me. Like, obviously, I don't plan on getting hammered. I don't plan on getting drunk. It's going to be whatever. But also, if he could do one shot for me, it would probably make my entire year. And it would be like the best thing ever. But I'm not going to force him to do it because, like I said, he came from a family that does that kind of stuff. And I think that he really wants to be different from his family. So I'm not going to peer pressure him into doing anything he doesn't want to do, especially because, like, my favorite sister that I'm going to be moving in with soon, she doesn't like drinking either. So, like, I have a lot of friends that don't like drinking, and I don't like pressuring people to do stuff that they don't want to do. But we both turned 21 this year. And, like, that's crazy. This guy, like, borderline, my first memory I've ever had in my life was with this guy. So it really does feel like, in a way, that he's like my brother on this planet. He's like, the soulmate in a platonic way kind of thing. He's that for me. And he really is like that guy. I love him to death. But yeah, that being said, that was it for this video, guys. Thank you guys so much for coming by and checking it out. I love and appreciate you guys so much for watching. If you are listening on Spotify, I also love you and appreciate you for coming by and listening to this. I'm incredibly excited that I'm finally doing an episode of this again. It's been too long. Hopefully, next episode we'll have more interesting things to talk about than, just me decluttering my life. But, I like sharing all of the mundane things with you guys because sometimes in life, the mundane things are what's relatable. And some people will hear it and be like, you know what? I like that guy. So, that being said, I'm going to sign off now. Peace out.